Hi, my name's Kishan and I'm a Solutions Architect at AWS. And in this video, I'm going to show you just how easy it is to create an AWS account and get started on the platform. So AWS, or Amazon Web Services, is the world's largest cloud services provider. This means they provide cloud services like compute, storage, database, and networking over the internet. So AWS was officially launched in 2006, but the idea was conceived well before that. When building out the retail arm of Amazon, the developers were facing a challenge where they were not able to get their infrastructure provisioned in time for them to release their new pieces of code. So what the engineers did was they built a web-based service which used APIs that the developers could go ahead and request infrastructure to be built for them in an automated fashion. Now this worked so well it made the developers far more productive and effective that Amazon decided that probably there's other companies out there that also need this service, and they launched that into the public. So to get started, the first thing you'll need is an AWS account. Now there's multiple ways of interacting with the AWS platform, but the easiest and the most simple is the AWS Management Console, which is browser-based. It's also the only way you can create an AWS account. So what you'll need is a laptop with an internet connection, you'll need a phone number, an email address, and a credit card to get started. So with that, let's jump onto the computer. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is head over to the AWS account homepage. So this is aws.amazon.com, or just search in Google. The next thing, hit this big orange complete sign up button here, and then click the create a new AWS account down at the bottom here. Okay, so here we're going to be asked for two things. The first is the root user email address, and the second is the AWS account name. Now, the root user email address is really important because this is the email address that's tied to your AWS account, and it can be used for really important things like account recovery in case you get locked out of your account, or other administrative functions within AWS. So it's really important that you have access to this email address, and because of that, a handy tip is to provide the email address of a distribution list, or at least of a shared mailbox, so that if one person can't access it, then at least another person can. The key problem with providing just one email address tied to one person for your AWS account is that if that person leaves your organization or somehow doesn't have access to their email inbox anymore, then you're going to really struggle to do some of the core account recovery and account admin tasks that you may want to complete. The next thing is the AWS account name. So this is just a friendly name. It can be changed later on, but it's just a friendly name for you to identify the purpose of having this AWS account. So examples here could be your application name in conjunction with the environment tier that it's part of. So for example, application 1-prod. Or in this case, it's just a sandbox test account. We're just doing it for a learning purpose. So I'm just going to provide a name called Kishan Test, and that's what I know my account is for. So go ahead and put your email address into this field and then click the verify email address. AWS is then going to send you a code to that email address. It can take a few minutes to come through, and also if it doesn't come through, make sure you just check your junk email inbox in case it's been sent there. I'm going to go ahead and put my email address in here, verify that, and then grab my code that's come to my inbox. Okay, so the code has come through to my inbox. When you click onto the next page, this is what you're going to see. So all you need to do is put in your verification code here, click verify, and now AWS knows that email inbox belongs to you. Okay, so the next stage is to create your password. Now remember, I said that this account is really important. It's called your root account, and it has the highest level of privileges within your AWS account. So make sure you choose a really strong password for this account, and do not share that password. Do not make it publicly available. Keep it somewhere safe and secure. So what I'm going to do now is just get my password. I'm going to copy and paste it into here and then move on to the next stage. Okay, I've copied and pasted my passwords in. Click continue onto step 1 of 5. So now we're on 2 of 5. Now AWS needs some contact information for you, just to make sure that they can associate a real person to this account. So ask for basic information like your name and your address. I'm going to pause the video here whilst I fill out these details, and then I will resume the video on the next step. Okay, so contact details are in. Now we just need to provide some billing information. So in some upcoming videos, I will explain how the pricing works for AWS, because it's quite different to your traditional infrastructure style pricing. You do pay on a pay-as-you-go kind of model. But the good news is AWS does offer a free tier where certain services are offered to you for free, so you can experiment with them. And I will leave a link in the description below with a link to the page which tells you what services there are and how much you're allowed to use of each service under the free tier. So I'm going to provide these details now. Make sure you obviously always keep your account details private, and I will see you in the next stage of the sign-up process. Okay, so account details have now been confirmed. They've validated that my credit card or my bank details are correct and it's real. And so step 4 or 5 is to actually confirm your identity. Now, this is where you need to verify your mobile phone number. So they will either send you a text message or a voice call to the phone number you provide, and then go ahead and just type in the characters, and then we'll move on to the next step. Right, so once that text message has been sent, just wait for it to come through to your phone, and then provide the code into this text field here. And then click continue. Right, so the final thing to do before getting hands-on with your AWS account is to select a support plan. Now there's 4 tiers of support plan: basic, developer, business, and enterprise. And for the purpose of this, we're going to just be selecting the basic support, which is free. As you go up the levels, you get more support, guidance, and advice from AWS. But because this is just a test account, experimentation account, we're going to be taking the basic support, which is free. So go ahead and select that radio button and then click complete sign up. Okay, brilliant. So now they're just going to be activating the AWS account. Should only take a couple of minutes, but we should actually be able to sign into the AWS Management Console already. So go ahead, click this button here to take us to the Management Console. And now this is when you're going to log in to the console itself. Remember, you're logging in currently as the root user. So just grab my email address. Paste in the password. And there we go. There is your AWS account set up. So this is the AWS homepage. This is what you will see when you log in every time into the Management Console. Now, as I scroll down, you'll see there's a number of these widgets which appear. Currently, they're all empty because we've not built anything in the AWS platform. But you can see it can show you things like the overall health of your AWS account. It can show you your cost and usage. It will also show you some of the more recently visited items. And then here, the Welcome to AWS box and the Builder solution are quick start guides to help you building things on AWS. You can ignore some of these right now, and this homepage is fully customizable. So the way to do that is just to click Add Widgets and then pick which widgets you like, and then you can just drag and drop the widgets around the page. Right, so I'm just going to give you a very quick overview as to the various elements on this page. Now, when you click this button up here on the top left-hand side, here you'll be able to see all of the AWS services. Don't worry about these for the time being. As we create more videos and go through the process of building things on AWS, naturally you'll be able to use some of these services. But if you are interested, then go ahead and just click on something like compute, and you can see all the various compute services that are offered by AWS. Alternatively, if you know the service that you're looking for, you can just go ahead and search it in the search bar. So if I type in EC2, which is the compute virtual machine service on AWS, then you'll see here it pops up in the search list. And you can search a number of things, including blogs, documentation, tutorials, and even the AWS Marketplace. Okay, so moving on to the right-hand side of the Management Console and kind of going through the icons on this side. The first thing that you'll see is this kind of arrow icon with an underscore. And what this is the AWS Cloud Shell. Now, we're not going to touch too much on this in this video because this is just getting started on AWS, but the Cloud Shell is a CLI that you can use via your browser. The next is a number of notifications that you might have, so open issues, any changes that are scheduled, and any other notifications. Then you've got a question mark for a support page or help page where you can easily get to documentation and training. Next, you've got something really important. I'm going to cover this in another video, but this is the region that you are currently deployed in. So one of the benefits of AWS is you can deploy workloads across the globe due to AWS's global infrastructure. And this is how you can operate out of different regions. So you can see here we've got regions in the Americas, so North Virginia, Ohio, and Oregon. And then we've got some in Asia Pacific, so Osaka, Mumbai, Tokyo, and then again across Europe as well. So this is a really easy way to deploy workloads in other regions. And then finally, you've got your personal account sort of settings structure. So here you can look through your security credentials, you can go through your billing dashboard, look at your service quotas, look at your actual AWS account, and change other settings. So before you get started on exploring around the console, there are a few things I'd really like you to do first. And these are really important to keep your account safe and make sure that only you can access your account. So on the homepage, scroll down and find the Trusted Advisor widget. It may take a couple of minutes for the Trusted Advisor widget to update, but once it has, click Go to Trusted Advisor. So Trusted Advisor is an automated set of checks to make sure that there's certain things in your account that are configured according to best practices. Now, as you can see here, even before we get started, there's a couple of things that it wants us to look into. Now, the first thing is MFA on the root account. Now, if you don't know what MFA is, it stands for multi-factor authentication, and it means that there's more than one password or more than one authorization mechanism for your account. So that means, for example, you're going to provide a password and then another one-time code is going to be sent to a device that you should only have access to, like your email or your phone number, and you're going to get sent another code which you're going to input to prove that it's definitely you. So it just adds another layer of security to your account, and it's highly recommended that you go ahead and set this up. So just follow the recommended actions here. Go ahead and set up an MFA device. I highly recommend that you do not continue without doing this. So the second thing we need to do is configure an IAM user. Now, identity and access management is the process of you defining who is allowed to do what in your AWS account. Right now, we are signed in as the root user, which means we have the highest level of privilege within the AWS account. Now, to prevent accidental damage to the account, one of the best practices is to create an IAM user with reduced or limited privileges in your AWS account. In order to do that, you need to head over to the IAM service and then create a new user. And that user, for the time being, whilst you're experimenting, may have admin privileges, but at least it won't be able to do certain things like close down your account. I will leave a description in the link below on how you can set up a user and how you can log in with that user. It's very straightforward, but it's highly recommended that this is something you do. So that's everything you need to get started on AWS. I hope this video was helpful to you. And if you'd like to see more videos around AWS, careers in tech in general, and productivity, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to my channel.